What's going on, everybody?
It's Whataweeb.
And today we're going to have a Sunday spotlight, which will probably be more of a Monday spotlight at this point in time, just because of technical difficulties and a bunch of other things. But we're going to be discussing this past anime season. So, the anime that I watched, the anime that Nestor watched, and the anime we both watched. So,
Spring 2017, boy!
yep. So Nestor, take us away with the anime we watched together.
So the first one we're going to be talking about is Attack on Titan Season 2. Finally getting its Season 2. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy Lord. He finally got it. They finally confirmed it. And they also decided to confirm Season 3 at the end of that one. Huge spoilers, by the way. But yeah, this anime itself was only 13 episodes. Or 12 episodes. 12 episodes. They did very... I like this anime a lot. I thought this anime decided to focus a lot less on the screaming and the hype of Titans, but a lot more of why are Titans here? What are Titans? They're scary beings, and like the beginnings of a lot of the side characters that, we saw at boot camp. We sort of see them fight, but that's it. But this season, we learned a lot more of a lot of the side characters. It didn't focus on Eren, Armin, and Mikasa like it did in the first season. We learned more about who the Colossal Titan is, who the Armored Titan is. We start learning more characters are Titans that we didn't expect to be Titans, except if you decide to watch the last minute of the first season where they showed a picture of all of the possible Titans. I think Derka mentioned that part. But yeah,
So,
go ahead.
so I mean that is technically a spoiler because they showed everybody. It was like Annie, Aaron, like Reiner, Ymir, and Bertholdt. They were all on that picture. I think maybe there was like one random character in there, but they chose those characters to be there. So it was kind of like a spoiler, but more back to this season. This season was pretty solid, like Esther said. A lot of character development this season. We actually cared more about the side characters. There wasn't as much Aaron fighting. Actually, I don't even think Aaron really fought until he started fighting the Titan, the Reiner.
Yeah. Which, by the way, was probably the coolest part of this entire anime this season.
It was dope. It was so cool. That fight was so cool. The flashback to Annie training him and him using it's like, you shouldn't have taught me how to fight then. And I was like, oh
Then
man.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, he started thinking, why did the Titans? Because Reiner and Annie sort of taught him how to fight. So they started questioning as to what the serious, motive it is to train Eren. Because, Eren is a good... I will put air quotes around good for now, because I don't know what he does in the future. But right now, he's on the human side, at least. You started thinking what was the motive, and then you started figuring out why are some of these things happening. There are Titans inside the wall, but there's no penetration of the wall. You started trying to think, why are these things happening, and what is up with this beast Titan that knows how to speak coherent things. The only time we saw a Titan speak was at Connie's village, where the Titan on his house said Okairi, which led to more questions like, what happened to the villagers there? Why is there a Titan right there who can't move, welcoming Connie, made eye contact and said that? It looked like his mother. You're just, are Titans are people being transformed into Titans right now? These are the kind of questions that I need answered in Season 3. Hopefully it gets released relatively soon. I'm very tempted to start reading the manga just so I don't have to wait. But the animation of this thing is just too good. The music is amazing. I would really prefer to be watching it than reading it at this point.
It's not soon.
It's not soon.
It's not. Season 3 is not soon. I'll tell you this right now. There's not even a release date. They just said that they're gonna make one. That's it.
That's what they said last time.
Yeah. So keep waiting.
5 years.
But yeah, I think all the theories of that, pretty much Connie's village, the reason why the horses were still there and everything was because nobody ran away. They were all turned into Titans. Probably maybe some sort of experiment, maybe some sort of test. I don't know. I want to know. I don't think we actually. I mean, we learned a little bit more in the manga, but we don't really remember or understand why that village, why Connie's village might have got turned or anything. They never talk about that anymore. That just helps Connie strengthen his resolve, if anything,
Yeah.
because he's like. But no, yeah, but definitely that was a great episode, and the whole thing with Sasha. Sasha was able to get her village back. She had the happy. She was able to actually meet the people again, while Connie, they're gone for him. So the main question of this whole series was that who is the Beast Titan? I think like the Beast Titan looks like he's definitely the main antagonist, if anything.
I don't think it was the main question, but I think that's the lingering question at this point.
It's the lingering. It's the question that everybody has at the end, because it's like, all right, they're giving this guy the last scene, pretty much, of the anime. Who is this guy? He's been doing all this stuff. He's been leading all these Titans. What's his exact power? What's his exact thing? All the other questions have been around pretty much for the entire anime, but they chose to end it off with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely means something's gonna happen. I know a little bit more just because I read the manga, and they do explain the Beast Titan, all the Titans, a lot more. So keep waiting, guys. It's really good. It's really good right now. A lot of backstory, a lot of explanation, and I hope season 3 actually delivers on that. There's a lot of things they hinted at with the ending of the anime being a lot of things that happened in season 3. They did show Ymir. Krista's real name is Historia. A lot of things that, oh my god, I already know what's going to happen, but I can't say anything because it didn't happen yet in the anime.
I will kill you if you say anything in this call.
Exactly. So definitely looking forward to the 3rd season, see what they do there. Hopefully the pacing is better. That was the one thing I didn't like this season, because not a lot actually happened. It was only 12 episodes. We waited like 5 years for 12 episodes. That's stupid. Don't do this. Like, don't do that. Give me the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, the opening was crazy good. Not as hype as the first season, or as the first season, yeah, but still really good. I don't know why people keep knocking on it. It's not hype. It's not it's not like that, but it's still really good. The ending sequence, like, I understand why they went with that theme, but at the same time, like, I'm not a big fan of it, so it goes neutral for me with the openings, the music, but the music overall was, like, during the actual show was really good.
Dope.
It was so good. That's why I give a positive towards the music. The animation, like I said before, was freaking amazing. Like,
Clean.
It was clean. The Titan transformations look better than they did before, actually. The character development was crazy good. I like subtle things like the Titans becoming relevant, like scary. They're not just these little things, like these pieces of meat that just hit trees aimlessly. They are now scary creatures again, which makes me excited, because it's not gonna be like, oh, we've evolved. Like, no, they're still fighting for their lives. This is an actual war. It's not like they figured it out just because Eren is now a Titan, which makes me really happy. And yeah, those are a lot of great points. Derko, what would you rate this?
I give it an 8.5.
I'd give it an 8.5 solidly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It was definitely well worth it. So.
Not worth the wait, but still, I'm glad that it's here. But anyways, off to the next one. I forgot to mention, there'll be things. There'll be in the description below. There'll be timestamps. If you guys haven't watched XYZ anime or don't care for it, you can click on the description to go to certain timestamps that you want to just watch specific ones. Like if you just want to watch Attack on Titan, if you just want to watch Little Witch Academia, you could just click on those timestamps and it'll tell you. We also wanted to mention that we're only going to be focusing on animes that ended this season, not ones that are still continuing, like Boku no Hero and Shingeki no Bahamut. And yeah,
and recreators.
And recreators, but I just said example, but he's a fan of recreators a lot, so there,
yeah,
that's there.
Cool. All right, but moving on to the next anime in our case, we'll go with Rokundashi, pretty much Akashic Records of a bastard magical school teacher, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you translate it, yeah, we were discussing this earlier. It's shonen. It's generic shonen, pretty much. It starts off with a guy named Glenn, and we realize that he's pretty much a bum in the beginning, and his sensei one of Vanessa's favorite characters.
Silica.
Yep. Yep. And she forces him to be a teacher, or it will like beat him into submission or something.
She's so powerful and so like
Yeah.
this like perceptive. It's crazy. Like throughout the entire anime, like she does all these crazy things and sets up these hints. Even when she's like under like she's a hostage, she's still like setting up Glenn for success.
She's well learned, dude. She's actually like really old. You know, she's been around the block. Like, she uses magic just to look younger, but she's been around for a long time. Stop aging, my bad. Stop aging.
Man, that's a gilf I would tap any day of the week.
Okay.
Anyways.
Anyway, back to the story. So yeah, it's about Glenn, and he's pretty much a lazy guy who's forced to become a teacher, and he shows no initiative to be a teacher in the beginning, at least. And you have this chick named Sistine, whatever, who always like yells at teachers if they don't do their job right, but like Glenn doesn't even care that she's yelling at him. So, but over time,
ping his ear.
Yeah, over time though, Glenn, she starts to grow on Glenn pretty much. The first part of it is pretty much him coming there and us learning a little bit about him. He's actually, he's a previous member of the like secret royal magic corps or whatever, and his power was the Fool, which let him nullify other people's magic.
His original magic.
So he's pretty strong. He's pretty freaking strong if he can nullify magic. He was also trained by the Witch of Destruction, so he can use destruction magic, which very few, if not only Celica and him, can use in the world.
But his biggest problem was that he didn't have big mana capacity, so that's why he was always mentioned as a third-rate magician.
But like instead, he makes up for it with skill, and he's a pretty strong mage killer. Yeah. He's kind of like a not as dark Kiritsugu from Fate Zero, to be honest. He knows how to kill people. Like, he knows definitely how to kill people. But yeah, so the first season pretty much relies around him, everybody getting to know him kind of starting to actually take his role a little better, a little more seriously. So this girl named Rumia gets kidnapped. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Inester?
So Rumia is the blonde hair chick who throughout the entire anime basically remains the same for the most part. This kind girl that always wants to help everyone out before herself. That seems to be a very common thing with all the characters, actually, except for the side characters. But yeah, she has this recreation activation magic, I guess. Like, I don't remember exactly how to word this, but she can basically activate any recreation magic that the dark or the evil people have in store for her and want to use her. So she's always being like stolen, like
targeted.
2, 3 times.
Yeah, that's
3
why,
times.
That's why her mother, the queen, actually kind of sent her away, because she knew that I think it was actually like a royal line thing. So she knew that she'd be targeted, so she wanted to hide the fact that she existed. But that didn't really work. So
yeah, she ended up coming back after a while, and of course, like, mother pretended to like discard her in the worst way possible, so the daughter wouldn't come back. And that sort of shows like during the first actual arc, I guess, where Rumia gets her when she's first stolen away. Like, she comes back and like she first interacts with the queen. It's like, I don't know. I think you're mistaking me for someone else. Like, I don't know you, and said that at the end, like, I still don't know you. And then the third time, she finally like accepted her, but at the end, like, we know they both knew they couldn't be together, so they parted ways. But like, it took a good amount of like persuasion and near-death experiences.
Also because of that like magic item that was on the queen too.
That the second time was because that was the second time, yeah.
Yeah, the first time she did it just like to start off so that she wouldn't come close to her, because she knew if she was close to her, she'd be dangerous. The second time she was under the effects of a magic item. That Glenn, our boy Glenn, was like, "Nah, I got this.
I'll figure it out," because Silica told him the hint, except in a very deceiving way. So the people who heard her didn't think it, which makes Silica awesome.
Fair enough. Yeah, she's a pretty dope character. She's that super strong character who kind of just takes a back seat to most things. But overall, like, that was the first arc. Pretty much, they save her. Everybody gets a better opinion of Glenn because he manages to save her. And the second arc starts off with a little bit more information about Glenn. I think one of the first things is that his old comrade, I forget his name, the blue-haired guy.
Oh, Albert? Is it Albert Fraser? Fraser?
Might be Albert. Yeah, him. So like, he's like Shiro Neko kind of looks like Sarah, doesn't she? So we're like, whoa, who is this Sarah?
Shiro Neko is Sistine, by the way. I don't think we mentioned it.
Yeah. So Shiro Neko is Sistine, and then Sarah is also known as Shiro Inu, white cat, white dog. So he says that she looks very similar to him, and that kind of starts off the next arc. The whole thing it goes a lot more into Glenn's story in a weird sense, because in the beginning it looks like it's all about Sistina, but then you realize this whole thing was all for Glenn. So Sistina's being forced to marry this guy named Leos. You realize Leos is actually dead. Like,
there was one arc in between that, but
that doesn't really. It wasn't really.
It was a pretty important arc for real.
The real arc was part of the Rumia arc, though.
No, it wasn't.
That's when that was the second time they saved her.
Yeah, that was the second time. The first time was during the magical games.
Yeah, so okay.
Magical games, and then they did it at the beach, and then last one was with Leos.
Yeah, so okay, fine. So Riel, random blue lolly, literally has no personality. She kind of gets a little bit of development because of her arc, because she realizes she gets her backstory. That's literally it. She gets tricked into thinking that, you know, she has to work for her brother, but that guy's not actually her brother. So once again, Glenn comes to save the day, so that, you know, he saves Rumia in Riel this time. Go, Glenn. I really didn't think it was that important, so, because Riel literally doesn't do anything for the rest of the series.
Yeah, like during that part, yeah. But nonetheless, it is relatively important for her. So we see like characters, we see actual characters, and she's a clone. So
yeah, Riel's a clone. It was really just a mini arc for Riel, just because they had introduced her, and she was going to be one of the main girls, I guess, with Sistina and Rumia. So they pretty much gave us some information on her. But back to the important arc, the last arc of the whole Leos arc, where Sistina's being forced to marry this guy, and Glenn's like, oh, no, I'll challenge you for that, blah, blah, because I want to marry into money, even though he's lying about that, but Sistine doesn't realize that. So eventually what happens is that Glenn finds out that, you know, Leos is pretty much not a good person. Like, he's also not Leos. We realize Leos is dead, has been dead for a while, and someone else has been taking his, using his form for the pretty much last arc. And that's the justice of, if Glenn's the fool, there was also a justice member who betrayed them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him, Nestor?
Oh my god, this guy, the 11th, the 11th, I think, the 11th member of the Night Order, the Knight in front of Glenn. This guy was insane. Like, literally insane. The man had the weirdest obsession with Glenn. Like, even after watching it, like, a second time, I still am baffled as to why he is obsessed as he is with Glenn. Because I can't remember who this 11th guy is. But he had multiple chances to get help from people during their fight with Glenn, but he was like, no, I'm the only one. I don't want anyone else to do it. This is only between me and my boyfriend. And I think he literally said boyfriend.
I don't know. I'm not going to deny or confirm that, but definitely he had this weird thing with Glenn. I think it's because Glenn was the only person who stopped him last time. And his whole thing is that he doesn't care about the world's justice. He cares about his own personal justice. So since Glenn personally beat him, he saw that his justice wasn't strong enough. They actually mentioned the Akashic Records at this point. He's like, I have to beat you so that I know I am supreme and I can use the Akashic Records. Mm-hmm. That's literally the only time they mentioned the Akashic Records, though. Literally the only time.
And this thing is never going to get a second season because it is a light novel.
Yeah, it's a light novel. It has a manga too, but I don't think it's...
It's not the main source, though.
Yeah. So, it's okay. It's okay overall. Like, he ends up fighting, and then, like, Sistina comes back to help him, even though she's scared of him because he's killing all these people to save her. Typical not what should we call it? Not matured character, like thinking that you're killing all these people, but she's killing them to save you.
Yeah.
So she comes back and they're able to beat Justice together. Typical ending, blah blah blah, lovey dovey, blah blah blah. And Justice doesn't even die. He just runs away. So nothing really got resolved. He just lives to fight another day.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, okay opening, animation standard. Nothing really, like, music wasn't amazing. So I just, like, standard cookie cutter. I guess Glenn as a character was cool, but not enough backstory, not enough development as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would probably give this thing a 7.
Yeah, no, definitely.
7.
I'd like to have seen more stuff with Sarah. So the reason, the whole reason why he has this whole vendetta against Justice, like why did he care so much about Sarah? We can guess that maybe he liked her, but there's not enough information on that. So yeah, I'd give it a 6.5, 6, between 6 and 6.5.
Right. All right. And the last one we watched together, The King's Avatar, also known as Quan Chi Gao Shou.
Yep, the Chinese animated show.
The Chinese cartoon. Literally a Chinese cartoon. Ha! To all the joke sayers, we are watching Chinese cartoons now.
I mean, it was one of the best things I watched this season, so...
It actually was, so... If you loved it so much, go ahead. Tell us about it, Dirk. Tell us about our man Yishu.
So let's talk about Yishu. The cool, mature, suave Kirito. Literally, he's amazing at this game. He loves the game he plays so much that every time he's playing, like, they'll even play this music in the background that's kind of peaceful, and like he'll just be smiling while he's playing the game, even though he's been dealt such a bad hand. He's considered one of the best players, if not the best player in this game, and he got kicked off the team that he had brought to the championship like 3 years ago, but he had been sabotaged for those last 3 years by one of his teammates who didn't like him. So he got kicked off, and he broke his contract. So you realize he doesn't really have any money because he uses his money to help other people. And that's quickly mentioned in the beginning. They don't really ever go back to it. So he leaves, breaks his contract, just walks out, gets a job, literally goes outside, goes across the street pretty much, gets a job at an internet cafe, and starts getting ready for the game, which is called Glory's next server to launch.
I thought it was really funny how he ended up getting the job. Like, he ended up getting the job because the boss lady was having a hard time winning a duel, and he came in, like, asking if he could get a job. She's like, no, I don't need time. I don't need any more workers. And he beats this duel, and she's like, you start tonight. This is where you live.
Yeah, she was so excited because she actually thought he was the great Yishu. Nobody really knows how Yishu sounds like because he even says it himself. They kicked him out because he's not really marketable because he doesn't market himself. He doesn't really show himself in public too much. So she heard his name and was like, oh, it's a Yishu, but it was spelled differently. She's like, no, you're not Yishu, but in actuality he is. So that was a nice little fun part. A lot of humor scattered around this show. A lot like that. There's a swordsman who always wants to fight him, like PK, 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 PK. But yeah,
even during any fights, he'll spam.
Yeah, he just spammed, and everybody's just like, this guy's so annoying, and he's a pro player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pretty much the whole point of the show is that he's making, he got kicked off his team, but he still wants to play the game. And now he's going to play the way he wanted to play because he used to be a battle mage. He lost his character. He had to give it to the guy who replaced him. So he just made a completely new character, an unspecialized class character, which kind of just means that he can use any weapon, but he can't go like super, like he can't get all their skills. He can get all the skills of the lower rank. So you have to, so like, why would he do something like that in Esther?
Put me on the spot. I never really thought about that actually. Like
well.
Like I remember they talking about it and him hitting the precipice, but he was just like, I need it for the short term. Like he was trying.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay, so the whole unspecialized thing was that back in the day when the server first started 10 years ago, we don't know who his friend was, but he was playing with a friend, and he found that weapon that he's using as the unspecialized class, that umbrella type thing.
Right.
He found that weapon, but he had never been able to use it because in the beginning they mentioned that it was way too hard to be a specialized, unspecialized class in the beginning, and later on when it did become okay, it was too hard to do the quest to unlock this unspecialized class. You had to do too many quests. It was too much of a time commitment for something that doesn't look like that nobody plays. So he wanted to. As somebody who loves the game, you want to experience every aspect of it. At least this is my opinion now. At least now I'm talking about my opinion. You want to experience every aspect of the game. What better way to do that is if you could use every class's, base skills and use them at such a high level that you're beating these pro players who are levels above you, and you're not specialized.
Yeah. They also, I guess, branching off of that, like there was one guy who questioned as to why he went unspecialized, because it was the most like intelligent player in the game. Like he was like, I think you have until like level 90 until like you're basically outdated and you can't really be used anymore. So like he was questioned as to why he would do such a thing, and I guess listening to Dirk, it also like just means that he just really cares for the game, and he's like, he also went into he also said that you guys don't know for sure. Like, I can bring out its full potential. So, like, he wants to show off a little bit. Like, he's
playing the game how he wants to, I think, yeah. Like, at this point, he's just playing how he wants to play.
But yeah, this Yishu, a lot more charismatic than the Kirito. There's actual reason as to why people are, like, powerful people are gathering to him. Like, he actually teaches people how to get better, and he's not annoying, and there's actual reason as to why people liking him. The only one that I wasn't too like knowledgeable as to why she liked him was Wu Shang, the gunner of the team. But other than that, like, it sort of made reason because he had helped them and like was continuously helping. But I'm assuming that's what happened with Wu Shang. But it seems a little deeper, but they didn't explicitly say that.
Yeah, it was more of a setup season because second season is confirmed, so that's pretty hype as well.
And yeah, like this season was definitely a setup because he ended up picking up a bunch of different people for the purpose of like creating a team, and he knew that it would take time. So he got like this very new to the game girl who is a battle mage. Who originally thought that this game was stupid, like it doesn't, like there's no real skill, it's just APM, which is actions per minute. And first time she battled the battle god, she got destroyed. Like decimated. And she was like, there's no way, and she, like lost like 20 times in a row before she realized maybe there's a little more to this, and she started like growing on the game. There's a brawler whose name is like Bao or something like that.
Something like pork dumpling or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. Like his game is dumpling, whatever, and like he came out of nowhere literally, and just like the Yishu was like, you know what? I see you as a potential. Like, add me a friend request, and I'll just start training you. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he was like soloing a fucking world boss or something, and Yishu just like, he's not too bad. He's just a little too rough. So like he starts coaching them while they fight the raid boss, and like they're stealing the boss from the top guilds of the server. Like, this guy is so cool.
Yeah.
He does not care. He steals records. He beats people's scores. He makes he just does his own thing. He doesn't conform.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about this character himself. Like, but one thing that I wasn't too big of a fan of, two big things. One, the huge amount of characters in this freaking show. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to sound racist. I know I shouldn't, but all the names look so similar. Like, they would be dropping pro name. I'm just like, I don't remember one. Like, Yishu, I know that one. Does that count? But then they would start dropping all their names. I'm like, okay, that's done. And I guess that's a personal problem, but at the same time, that's
true.
Like, if a show that has 12 episodes has more than I'll be nice. If it has more than 20 characters, then it's too much. And if I bother to look at how many that decided to show up in this anime, something a little larger than that. I'm like scrolling and scrolling on my anime. But yeah, like
No, that's true though. Like I agree that there were a lot of characters and for such a short anime. And what was even worse was that the pro players, like the top pro players, had nicknames. So they'd be calling them by their real name and then be calling them by their nickname. Like Yishu was the battle god. And there was I forgot the fighter guy's name, but the fighter guy towards the end who was Yishu's rival since the beginning. They showed him, and then they said him by his, nickname, and then you're just like, okay, who are you talking about after you mentioned like 8 characters in a row and like 4 nicknames?
yeah, and this guy like who basically knew like I felt like should have been shown up earlier because he's supposed to know Yishu the best, right? Like they've been
Yeah.
rivals since the game, like the first server.
Yeah.
And I don't think we mentioned this, but with the 10th server, like this anime starts with the 10th server being opened up, and everyone had new characters, so I guess it was perfect timing with the
He
plan.
literally gets fired and then makes a new character.
So yeah, like that's how that went. And yeah, personally, I like the music in the anime itself was really good. The opening and ending sequence I really disliked. So
I didn't care for it. Yeah, I didn't care for it.
I actually didn't like it at all. So like I'm gonna put like a neutral, like a lower neutral for the music.
Nestor doesn't like Chinese music. And Nestor doesn't like Chinese music, I'm just saying.
I will not say that. I liked. Well, I'm not even gonna go into it. I watched the Three Kingdoms, by the way, guys. If you guys don't like, that's a Chinese show. I like that music, but the animation was good. Was good. The realism of like the rain, the people interactions was really nice. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was artificial. It felt genuine. And like when they were in the game, it felt like I was actually watching like an actual video game. So I really like that part. And I think the storyline, although it wasn't super clear for probably almost the entire until like the last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Not even like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Because it was just them like, oh yeah, I'll just train and train and train and train. Like, okay, I understand. Like what could have been done in like probably 4 episodes was done over like 10. So that's at least personally my biggest problem with the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the plot. Yeah, that's all I got for it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a solid. Like I thought it was, it's Chinese. I think they didn't have a lot of funding either because it's probably one of the first times like China has done an animated series of that caliber,
Right.
of that style. So I thought it was definitely a good thing, and maybe we'll see even more coming out in the future. So I'm pretty excited. I give it an 8. Give it an 8.
Yeah, I was thinking 8 as well.
Definitely something I'd recommend though to anybody who likes a good action.
For anyone that
video-
likes Sword Art Online, you can watch this.
Yeah, but no, yeah. Moving on to our specific anime.